Tomorrow morning.
I'm one of the, my.
We're live. We're live.
Okay, thank you. Council, we'll open the meeting, regular council meeting of Wednesday, March 19th. I want to thank all of council for coming. Marjorie, we're pleased to have you at the horse show with you, and we'll do more formalities later with you. People in the audience up there, we welcome you as well, and as well as people interested in who have applications in. Staff, thank you again for your attendance. We begin this gathering by acknowledging that the land upon which we meet is the traditional territory of First Nations people who have had a long-standing relationship with the land, water, and regions of Southwest Middlesex. The nations along the banks of the Thames include the Chippewa of the Thames, Oneida Nations of the Thames, Munsee Delaware Nation, and the Delaware Nation of Moravian Town. We convey our respect to our First Nations neighbors and thank them for their contributions to our culture, our community, our past, and relationships of the future. Please note that our meetings are held in the council chambers at 153 McKellar Street, and these will be recorded and archived. In any failure of the audio system or streaming system of the equipment, it does not negate any section of our meeting and does not invalidate the outcome of the decisions. Council, is there any member of council declaring a pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on. The agenda has been circulated. The chair requires a recommendation that the regular agenda of council dated March 19, 2025 be accepted as presented, or please advise the chair of any changes or observations you make. Seeing none, you'll move that. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there a seconder? Councillor Haggett, all in favor? Carried. Delegations and presentations. There's an oath of office to a new Ward 3 Councillor, Marjorie Emery. Marjorie, again, thank you for your presence and accepting the position when it was offered to you. I can assure you that the next almost 2 years will go by very quickly, and you're among friendly voices here, and the chair will make sure they're friendly at all times. Okay? And is there a presentation for? Okay, Kendra, if you would like to.
So at this time, Marjorie will read out her oath of office.
Okay.
She'll sign, and then I'll sign, and then she is a member, and she can vote.
Okay, that's fine. Well, Marjorie, if you could read that, it'd be great. And perhaps we'll just turn that mic on, just to make sure that you're live.
I, Marjorie Emery, having been elected or appointed to the office of Ward 3 Councillor in the municipality of Southwest Middlesex, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflicts of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration consciously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you very much, Marjorie, for that. Now, with your signature, you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Good. All set, Kendra? Okay, then we can move on. Thank you once again, and you'll enjoy the journey. We're at number 5, the consent agenda. The chair will read briefly the 7 items that are on it, and if any council member wishes to pull one out, If it's just a minor tune-up or information, we can do it immediately. If it's more complex, we'll move the item to new business. Draft minutes of the special budget meeting, March 5th. Draft minutes of the regular council meeting, March 5th. The voucher report, thank you for calling in and asking questions. Yes, Martin, do you have a question on that?
I'd just like to point out, I did ask Amanda about the $14,000 repair bill on one truck. And so we've looked into it.
Okay, yeah, it's, parts are expensive, yeah. I think it overheated or something like that, yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's, turning the wrench, it costs you money. Any other questions on vouchers? I don't see any. Ontario Clean Water Agency Tri-County Water System Annual Report. We have had a clean bill of health on that one. No infractions. Met all compliance. LaSalle, Town of LaSalle, support regarding tariffs on resolution of support regarding tariffs on Canadian production. Mark, yes, would you like to endorse that?
Yeah, I would like us to endorse LaSalle's resolution to remove interprovincial trade barriers, and also 5.6 from Middlesex, which is about buying Canadian where and whenever possible.
Okay. Sounds good. Will you move that? And a second for that, please. Councillor Haggett? Discussion? That means you can buy those good BC wines in Ontario eventually, eh? Is that what it means? Yeah, okay. All in favor? Carried. Thank you for bringing that out. We'll continue on. Township of Puslinch, resolution regarding Town of Hanover, federal and provincial call to action to buy Canadian. Okay, Mike's got a notice of motion that'll look at it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yes, we did. Okay, yeah. No, 5.5 was
And
it's okay. We've approved that. Yeah. Okay. City of Sarnia resolution regarding the carbon tax. Any comments on that? None. Okay. The recommendation is the council accept items 5.1 to 5.7, with the exception of those that we have dealt with. Is there a mover to accept that consent agenda? Okay, Martin, Councillor Bink, a seconder, Councillor McCollum. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. We are now at number 6 of the agenda, the Committee of Adjustment. And I'll need a motion to enter into that entity. Will someone please entertain a motion to enter into a Committee of Adjustment at 6:09? Councillor McGill, is there a seconder for that, please? Councillor Bink, all in favor? Carried. Yeah, 6:09, Kendra. We will call the Committee of Adjustment to order. Any member of this committee declaring a pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we can move on. Minutes of the last meeting of February 19th, 2025. Any errors or omissions? Chair will entertain a motion that the minutes are received and approved by the committee. Is there a mover and a seconder? Councillor McCollum. Councillor McGill, all in favor? Carried. The Committee of Adjustment will be dealing with minor variance application A1 2025 submitted by Richard McCammon on behalf of Terrigen McCann, 6415 Innandale Drive. The planner will present the staff report, and Alana, if you could please go ahead and inform council of this. AR, okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. So this application before committee this evening, again, is for 6415 Innadale Drive. The request is for a minor variance in relation to the construction of a new accessory building in the form of a shed. This is to replace a shed that was destroyed by fire in 2024. The request is to permit the construction with a floor area of 155 square meters and a height of 6.7 meters. Whereas a maximum height of 6 meters for an accessory building is permitted, or sorry. The subject lands are approximately 0.42 hectares in size. It contains a 2-story single detached dwelling with a floor area of approximately 240 square meters. This is serviced by private well and septic system. There's also an existing access off of Innadale Drive. So the applicants are proposing to replace the shed, again, that was destroyed in May of last year. This was constructed prior to 1992 and was located in the front yard of the property. This is not currently permitted under our zoning bylaw, but was deemed to be in compliance as it was a legal non-complying structure in existence prior to the establishment of our current zoning bylaw. It was approximately 145 square meters in size and 5.37 meters in height. Although it was located closer to the front lot line than the main dwelling, it did meet the required setbacks under the zoning in terms of the setback to the middle of the road. So the applicants again are now proposing to replace this shed. It is a similar structure located on the same footprint. However, the shed would be 10 square meters larger than the previous structure and 1.33 meters taller. It would be 2 stories in height. The applicants have advised that the increase in height is being proposed to allow for solar panels to be installed on the roof. And these solar panels would power both the shed and the existing residence. This shed itself would be for vehicular storage as well as recreational space for the landowners. This would include a sauna, workshop, art studio, a number of different spaces for them for hobbies. And as well, the structure would make use of the existing driveway, so no additional driveway would be required. The application was circulated as per the requirements of the Planning Act. I did not receive any comments or concerns from any agencies or internal departments, and I have not received any comments in relation to surrounding neighbors. So my evaluation of the minor variance request mostly hinged on the fact that the proposal is going to be smaller in both height and size than the existing dwelling. And although it is going to be located closer to the front lot line, it will still remain the subordinate or the appear to be the accessory to the primary residential building rather than being the primary structure. The Roads Public Works Department has advised that the location of the accessory building in the front yard does not impact road safety or sight lines for passing motor vehicles. And as the shed is to be located on the same footprint as the previous one, no anticipated negative impacts are expected. So with that being said, my recommendation this evening is for approval of the minor variance. Thank you.
Good, thank you very much. The applicant will now be allowed the opportunity to speak. Would you like to come forward? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You're in particular, or?
No, right there is good. Richard, you grab that. We appreciate you coming. And Thaddeus as well, please sit down and just relax. And if you have anything to say, it's your turn.
Well, basically, the application, we thank the guidance that we got from Alana. She was very helpful in helping me through the process, as being the first time I've ever had to do anything like this, and certainly Aaron for the work that was done on the report itself. So hearing that it was being recommended as granted, certainly when we got that letter, the report was quite nice to see, and I'm hoping that the council will consider it as such. Thank you for your time in the consideration of going forward. And I also want to thank the staff who have commented either through no comment at all or through a positive comment for us to go forward. So thank you to all, and I look forward to a positive outcome.
Okay, that's great. No, you should remain seated there if you'd like, just for a minute, because we may possibly call on you if there's any questions or anything like that. Okay, and thank you, Richard. Committee members' remarks. Are there any questions that you would like to ask Karen or Alana? Seeing none, we'll just scratch these off bit by bit. We have been advised, Council, that there are no oral or written submissions. And Richard, it's back to you. Are you okay?
I'm great.
Okay.
Look forward to the outcome.
All right. Okay. Committee's decision. This is the time. The recommendation is before you that the application that was received dated March 19, 2025, prepared by the planner, minor variance A1 2025, submitted by Richard McCammon on behalf of Tajir McCammon, 6415 Innerdale Drive, be accepted and is presented and granted the minor variance. Is there a mover and a seconder? Deputy Mayor Scholdice, Councilor McGill, questions? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Got it. That was simple, eh?
Thank you all.
Yeah, at the end of the meeting, we will do a bylaw, and then it becomes official, and you can be assured that we'll look after that for you, okay?
Very good. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you very much, folks. Thank you for your investment in Southwest Middlesex. Okay.
We're looking forward to getting this on.
I bet. Continuing on with the Committee of Adjustments, future meetings will be announced by staff. They'll apprise you of that. And we will adjourn this Committee of Adjustment. Is there a mover to adjourn the meeting at 6:18? Okay, Councilor McCollum, seconder. Councilor Bank, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Scratch that off. That's done. We are now into a public meeting, meeting 7-1, Court of Revision. And the chair's responsibility is to appoint a committee of 4 people on this. And I would like Deputy Mayor Scholdice, if you will stand, Martin Bink, Mark McGill, and without any objection, I'll gladly chair that. Okay. We'll all stand on that committee? Okay. And furthermore, the council will adjourn the regular meeting to sit as the Court of Revision at 6:19. Is there a mover and a seconder for that, please? McCollum and Scholdice, all in favor? Carried. And keep your spots, council. We'll try to get through this pretty quick. We are talking about the Court of Revision for the Edie drain and the Keith Cameron drain is what we will be dealing with. And we have adjourned the meeting. The zoning bylaw amendment application P4 2025 submitted by Stephen Carnerio Fernandez on behalf of, yeah. I only have you do. Okay. Yeah, Grace got it.
He's got it there.
Okay, yeah. So any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we can move on. Thank you. The Edie drain, Court of Revision. We will let our staff take over. Are you on this drainage inspector? Please apprise council of this. I understand There have been no appeals.
That is correct, yeah,
Okay.
no appeals on the drain.
All right. Questions from members that you'd like to present to the drainage inspector? Seeing none, we'll move on. Deliberation of the court revision. Is there any questions that you'd like to ask or clarifications that need made? Okay, yes, Martin, go ahead.
Can we do one drain at a time, just in case?
Yeah. Yeah, we will, yeah, we will, yeah. So let's work on the, we're working on the ED drain. Okay, any questions? Okay. Deliberations and decisions. Do you accept the recommendation that levied by Spring Associates dated December 30th, 24 be adopted by provisional bylaw 2025-16, pay for the drainage works known as the ED drain be confirmed? The recommendation is before you. Are you in acceptance of that? Yes.
Yeah, I'll move the
Okay.
recommendation.
And a second for that, please. Jody? Okay, sorry, your hand moved there.
Well, no, it's not. I can't.
Oh, yeah, you're not, yeah, okay, yeah, Councilor Schultz. Okay, last call for questions. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We are now on 3.2 quarter revision, Keith Cameron drain. Again, a drainage inspector will apprise us if should we have any concerns. Order of appeals, there has been none that I've been made aware of.
No, there has not.
Okay. Questions from any of the members of the committee? Okay, quick deliberation. Any chat regarding that? Martin, any concerns?
No.
Good? Yes.
It's just a question through the mayor to Andrew. So if we, when we get these two drains approved tonight, the next step is to tender them out, correct?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, correct, yes.
So, what's the timeline? Like, how soon will it come back to council to approve the tender?
The tender approval would more than likely be in the May meeting.
May?
Yeah.
So it's possible that these drains could get done, maybe actually get constructed later this year,
There is a good chance of it.
in the fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, for that clarification. Anybody, yes, Martin, go ahead, please.
All movement.
Okay. Seconder, okay. The recommendation is the assessment levied by Streets and Associated dated December 30th, 24 be adopted by provisional bylaw 2025-17 to pay for the drainage work known as the Keith Cameron drain be confirmed. All in favor of that? Passed unanimously. Motion to adjourn the quarter revision. Councilor McGill, Councilor Fink. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're into the zoning aspect of this, I believe. Is that correct? Following the acceptance of council on the agenda issue, we are into the zoning bylaw. The planner will present their report to staff at this time.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. So the purpose and effect of this application is to implement a condition of consent application B25-2024, which was a conditionally severed lot having a lot area of 1.8 hectares in order to accommodate the disposal of a dwelling surplus to a farming operation as a result of farm consolidation. So this application proposes to rezone the severed lands from B25, 2024, from the general agricultural A1 zone to the restrictive to the rural residential RR zone. And that's in order to recognize the residential use of the lands and also to limit the range of permitted uses. So staff note within the application, it is indicated that the applicant requests that the retained land be rezoned to restrictive agricultural A3. Although staff have informed the applicant and the agent that the general practice for surplus farm dwelling lots is to rezone the severed lands to rural residential RR, just to recognize the residential use of the lands. So staff is of the opinion it would be more appropriate to rezone those lands to RR. And staff have reached out to the agent to advise this information, and the agent has confirmed that they have no concerns. So the severed lands contain a single detached dwelling, and as mentioned, are approximately 1.8 hectares in size. The retained lands also contain a single detached dwelling, and this property is known municipally as 3863 Switzer Drive, and it also contains several farm buildings, agricultural land and crop production, as well as some natural heritage features. And the retained lands are approximately 39 hectares in size. So as required by the official plan, a rezoning application was required for the original consent application. And as noted in the report, considering that the retained lands contain an existing single detached dwelling, rezoning the farmland to prevent a dwelling from being permitted was not required. So, as noted, the applicant originally applied to rezone the severed lands to restrictive agricultural A3, and that was included within the notice of public meeting. Although staff and the agent are of the opinion that rural residential would be appropriate. Section 3417 of the Planning Act states that where a change is made in a proposed bylaw after the holding of a public meeting, council shall determine whether any further notice is to be given in respect to the proposed bylaw. And staff is of the opinion that no further notice should be required with regard to rezoning the lands to RR rather than A3, as it wouldn't significantly alter what was originally requested, and conditional approval of the severance has already been granted. So a bylaw has been drafted for council's consideration. And in terms of agency comments received for this application, the comments were received from the Public Works Manager, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, the Deputy Chief Building Official, the County Engineer, as well as the Drainage Superintendent. And those comments are included within the report. No public comments have been received to date. So staff recommend that this report be received for information and that the zoning bylaw amendment be granted, and also that no further notice be required pursuant to section 3417 of the Planning Act in regards to rezoning the severed parcel to the rural residential zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena, very much. Is the applicant or their agent present? Yes, please come up, sit on that desk. Mac will turn on that mic for you there. How are you? Just state your name for the record, if you would, please.
Oh, certainly. Well, good evening, council. You may recall that my name is Stephen Fernandez, and I act on behalf of the applicant, Gene Cooper. First, the applicant would like to personally extend his thanks to this council. You may recall that in the underlying consent application, we requested a severance of 4.46 acres instead of 1.2, and this council exercised its discretion, and so for that, the applicant thanks you. Turning to the application for the zoning bylaw amendment, as stated, is further to one of the conditions of the underlying consent application. Simply put, the applicant is principally concerned with one thing: to continue to use the severed lot for residential purposes and the retained lot for crop production following severance. The applicant has reviewed the report prepared by the planner, acknowledging consistency with land use planning documents and the zoning bylaw, and agrees with rezoning the severed lots from the general agricultural A1 zone to the rural residential zone. This approach permits the applicant's intended use, and the applicant requests that council proceeds as such. It is true that the applicant initially proposed a different zoning designation for the severed lot, specifically the restricted agricultural A3 zone. In the interest of brevity, we are agreeable with the reasoning provided. The rural residential zone would fulfill one of the conditions of the notice of decision and permits my client to use the severed lot as intended, and that is for residential purposes. Lastly, we agree with the statement that no further public notice in accordance with section 34 sub 17 of the Planning Act is required in connection with a minor change to our request, and adopt the reasonings again provided by the planner in that respect. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Okay, good. We'll let council deal with it. Thank you. Council members' remarks. Any questions that you would like to address to the planner or the applicant? Seeing none, we'll move on. There have been no oral submissions or written submissions on this property. Applicant's final remarks. I think you've done it well. You're okay? Good. All righty. Council decisions. The recommendation is before you. The land has gone through that very effectively, and I don't think there's any need to reread that. It's on your agenda. Council, what's your wish on this recommendation?
I'll move it.
Okay, is there a second for that? Gil? Thank you. Questions? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Good, we got you. We are now at number 8 in the agenda, the staff reports. Pleased to have Amanda here, and she'll walk us through 811. This is the OPP station property. Just to familiarize yourself with the view. Amanda, I'll let you introduce that to council.
Thank you. Thank you, through the mayor. Before you is a report in follow-up to a previous report provided at our last regular council meeting, where a draft lease extension for 157 Water Street to the Ontario Provincial Police was provided. And council had some feedback at the last meeting, specifically on asked staff to follow up on 2 specific items. One being clarification on utility costs. Council was seeking an amendment to the lease agreement, which explicitly stated that the tenant or the OPP would be responsible for all utility costs. In that case, my follow-up with the contract administrator did accept that amendment. It has been amended, and a new clause 3F has been inserted into the lease for that utility bill clarification. The other request that council had directed staff to make was around a mutual termination clause. There is a clause in the existing lease that does allow the OPP to terminate the lease with notice provisions, and the municipality was seeking the same rights in that regard. However, the OPP representative advised that the tenant is not agreeable to this request. And as such, the proposed lease does maintain the existing termination provisions, which allow the tenant to terminate under specific conditions. I will note that the way the lease is worded now without those dual provisions is the way it has been for the last 10 lease agreements. So since the lease was put in place, the municipality has never had the rights to cancel the lease previously. So just would note that. Based on those responses, the lease has been amended with the amendment to 3F on utilities and brought back before council for consideration. And there is a recommendation included for approval.
Thank you, Amanda. Council, any questions you wish to ask Amanda through the chair? Okay, we yes. Councilor Schultes.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe I think I asked that in the last meeting as well. What is our current contract with the OPP? What's the duration of it? What's the deadline on it?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. The current contract does not expire until the end of this year. It was a 4-year contract, and we are proactively negotiating a contract to begin on January 1st, 26 for an additional 4-year period. All of the lease agreements have been in those increments of 4-year term, and then reviewed for an additional 4-year term since inception.
I just wondered, what do we do if they're looking for large increases this year? I believe it was 13%. What do we do next year if there's a huge increase? Where does that leave the municipality for negotiating?
With our lease agreement?
Yeah.
So in the past,
I guess what I could say is, how does the lease agreement affect the contract with the OPP? put it another way.
So they are dealt with as separate matters. So we have two contracts with the OPP, one being this lease agreement for this facility for them to run a detachment office, which is separate and apart, not impacted by our agreement for service with the OPP, which, as you noted, has seen some increases in the last year, and we anticipate more next year. But the agreement for service does not require the OPP to have a detachment here, nor does they do not really relate to each other. So the OPP provide us the pricing on their service contract, and then we negotiate through that mechanism with the detachment office being separate. Thank you.
Any more questions? Mr. Chair, just to clarify a few things, I think we're very fortunate that we own that building and that we have an OPP presence here. You'll get, I think in terms of the remuneration we receive from that, you would not get that out of the private sector, I don't believe, to the same degree, okay? The OPP are giving us more in the private sector, what I can assure you that. And the modifications of HVAC improvements, things like that, I think the building needs it. It is getting a little tired and needs some help in that regard in terms of air conditioning and heating. And I think we're fortunate to have that. So while we want to make decisions in the best interest of the municipality, we also want to keep the OPP as well. So I think it is not a balancing act, but we at times we have to accommodate the market as well, and I think we're doing it here. Any further questions? Recommendations before council. Is there a mover and a second to this, please? Councilor Gill. Councilor Link. Questions? All in favor? All opposed? Carried. Okay, 8.1.2. Community improvement plan, application intake and recommendations. Amanda, could you walk us through that?
Certainly through you, Mayor. The report before you, it does provide an update on the 4 applications received under the community improvement plan for the 2025 intake period, which did occur earlier this year. Actually, I think it was November. Anyway, the intake period was opened and closed. We received 4 applications, all from local businesses, and the addresses are listed in the report. All of the applications are for exterior signage. The applications were complete and considered appropriate given the program parameters. And as such, a recommendation is provided to support all 4 applications to the CIP program. And if approved, the total municipal funding would be $3,290 in accordance with the grant parameters. I will note that of that fund, $3,290, the municipality is eligible for a refund of 50%, or $1,645 from the County of Middlesex. So if the recommendation is approved, we will, 1, work with the applicant to enter into an agreement with the municipality for the works, and then we will also file with the County of Middlesex for the future reimbursement of expenses.
Okay, that's good. Now we got half that back. Any questions? Councilman Gill?
Will there be another intake later in the year where more people could apply for this grant?
Thank you, through you. My understanding of the community improvement plan as it stands now is that there's 1 intake period during the year for all grants, except for signage grants can be submitted at any time throughout the year. So any business seeking a signage grant can apply throughout the year, but the rest, there is that intake period. I will note that staff, on direction of the Economic Development Committee and Council, are actively working on an update to our community improvement plan, which we hope to bring back this year and have in place before the end of the year. And one of the amendments to the plan would be to open up that application period so that there isn't a timeline. Businesses could apply anytime throughout the year as they see fit based on the nature of their business. So that will be one of the amendments that will be included in that for future to make it more accessible.
Okay, thank you, Amanda, for clarifying that. Any more questions? The recommendation, council, is before you. What's your wish? Are we in support of this? Mark? Okay, Councilor McGill has moved it. Is there a seconder? Councilor McCall. Last call for questions. It's nice to see a wardable business in there, Councilor Link. I like that. All in favor? Carried unanimously. H2, clerk has none. H3, finance. 8.3.1, council remuneration, recommendations before you. Mac, would you like to speak to this at all?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, through you. This report provides an overview of the council remuneration and expenses for 2024 in accordance with the municipal regulations and to ensure transparency and accountability. The report outlines the compensation received by each member of council, including honorariums and benefits. It also provides a breakdown of expenses incurred while fulfilling their council duties, both mainly on an individual basis, but I have also put on a general basis. There's a few things that came in last year that I've added in at the bottom of the report. Happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions to Mac, to the mayor? Seeing none, the recommendation is before you. Is there a mover and a second, please? Two hands went up at the same time there. Councilor Haggett, Councilor Mink. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Mac. Okay. Where are we? 9? Are we doing?
Yes.
Yeah, 9.1. Deputy Mayor Schuldice, buying Canadian products. Notice the motion.
Oh, sorry. Oh, geez. That's my mistake.
Yeah, no
That's my
problem.
mistake, Counselor.
Yeah, plan, what is it?
It's 8.4, we're at.
Okay, 8.4.
I just agreed with you.
Yeah.
It's okay.
8.4. 8.4, Public Works. This is new drain on Church Street, Wardsville. Yes, who's going to speak to this? You're going to speak to this, Andrew? Great. Okay, take it away. Drainage of Wardsville is interesting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The owner of 204 Church Street in Wardsville is in the process of severing a portion of the property which will become 206 Church Street. As a condition of approval for the severance, the applicant must secure a legal outlet for stormwater drainage. Municipal staff reviewed potential drainage solutions and held discussions internally to assess the viable options. In early February, myself and Morrow, the Public Works Manager, met with the affected property owners to explore the different options that we had. During the meeting, various solutions were considered with an agreement that had been proposed, and that it would be a petition under the Drainage Act that would be the most equitable. And as we all know, the terms of a petition is that all property owners receive the necessary level of service. Costs are distributed fairly, within the watershed, and the proper drainage outlet is established without negatively impacting other property owners in the area. At this time, there are no direct financial implications. Should the project proceed, the assessment schedule would be developed to fairly allocate costs among the property owners. It is anticipated that Wellington Street would be included in the assessment to reflect its shared interest in this project. I just wanted to point out that the map that was provided is very preliminary. This is just an idea of what it could be or what it might be. That it would be in the backyards of 204, 206, and 208. The owners of 204 and 208 have both petitioned under the Drainage Act for some drain, and it is just as an idea, it could be there and then tie into the storm drain that is on Wellington. However, we do all recognize that the storm drain on Wellington may not be sufficient, so if that is the case, then it would have to be explored further downstream on Wellington to get to sufficient outlet. At this point, I would recommend that council receives the petition under the Drainage Act under Section 4, and given that the Conservation Authority has already waived their concerns, that council could appoint Street and Associates under Section 4 of the Drainage Act to undertake the design and the construction of a new municipal drain in Wardsville in the area of Church Street. And I'm open for questions if there might be.
Okay, Council, any questions you'd like to ask Andrew through the chair? Go ahead, Councilor Link.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I had a conversation with a man this afternoon in regards to this. This is really quite confusing because we're going to maybe be talking about stormwater rates. And so I'm not sure what we're voting on here, because as soon as we agree with a petition, there's costs involved with the engineer. And so I think I was told from a man that the new owner of the seven lot may not need this drain. So this whole thing is very confusing, and if Wellington Drainage doesn't handle this, who's going to pay for the extra cost further down? That's not explained here either. So I think we're left with a lot of unanswered questions here.
I think under Section 4, we're following a blueprint, are we not, Andrew? That's the chair's comment on that. Can you add to that?
Yes, that is correct. Anyone in Ontario, regardless of where they live, do have rights of drainage, specifically under the Drainage Act. And it is possible that council not appoint an engineer under the act. However, like any other act, there are checks and balances to the act. And there is the ability for the petitioners to appeal to either the tribunal, if not the referee. And at that point, there could be the order to appoint an engineer to look at the viability of this. Like I had mentioned, the possibility of some level of agreement was discussed, and that is following the terms of the act. That a drain could be constructed, that would be a shared cost, and that is one of the first parts of the Drainage Act. However, the owners were not interested in an agreement, and as soon as one owner of a property is not interested in an agreement, it's over. You can't force an agreement. With regards to the cost, if it proceeds, there would more than likely be cost allocated to Wellington Street if it does have to go further downstream. I don't have those numbers because there are no numbers at this point. This, like any other appointment, there are no numbers yet to discuss. And if that is the case, then further meetings would be had with the property owners on Wellington Street to inform them of their rights under the Drainage Act. And that will be discussed then. So, and with regards to the general overall cost, I understand that it can be concerning, but I think we do still have a balance out responsibility under the Act to at least explore the petition.
It wasn't long ago that we had complaints on Church Street and Wellington Street during some of those heavy rains. And I remember my telephone was ringing occasionally. Amanda, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. As Councillor Vink, we have investigated this a little bit further, and you are right, Councillor, this is a unique situation with the municipal drain petition in this area, with some other explorations going on. So as I committed to you, I will also share with Council that should Council wish to approve the drainage petition as provided before you under Section 4 as per the Drainage Act, we will certainly immediately take the necessary steps to notify the appointed engineer, but we will also ask them to hold because to hopefully incur no costs. The situation on the Sever property is such that this drain may no longer be needed, and the petitioners will be advised of the other work that's going on so that they then can choose whether they withdraw or not. They're not required to do so, but we want to ensure we're providing them the best information to make the best decision for drainage for their properties. So if it's approved, we rest assured we will do our best to hold it and make sure they understand all of the options and considerations before it moves forward to the next step.
Okay. I guess
Yep.
only
One
one
follow-up,
question.
yep.
Okay, I just want to know the different stages here. So say the engineer checks this out and finds that Wellington Street drain cannot handle the extra water going in there, so it could be a lot bigger increase in cost. Will that come back to council before anything gets done?
If this does proceed, like Amanda had said, it may not, but if it does, if they don't withdraw the petition and it does get approved, then there would be a consideration meeting as usual with the report. But even before that, there's always the preliminary draft meeting that the engineer discusses with people on the drain to show them the costs that are involved. So it's never a surprise. Well, it's never good news, I guess, that's the other thing, but it's myself and the engineer always keep people up to date with the information when it's available.
I don't think council want to make decisions for the property owners. In the drainage matter, it is the property owners that make that decision. And so I think the process is being done correctly. And those people on Wellington Street will certainly have an opportune time to speak to the issue or have someone advocate on their behalf. But I think you implied there was some agreement already, and I think we should proceed with that. It may, in terms of some of the heavier rains that we seem to be getting on a more frequent basis, I think that stormwater management is exceptionally important. These heavy rains are going to continue. It's going to get warmer and it's going to get wetter. According to the scientific field. Council, there's a recommendation before you. Last call for questions. Go ahead, Councilor Schultz, or Deputy Mayor Schultz.
Thank you. question is for Andrew. Are we sure there's no drain on Church Street?
Yes, we explored that. We had hoped that there was. But the lay of the land goes in the direction towards Wellington and then towards Longwoods. We had thought that, what about the possibility of Church Street, but no. If there is, it's, like I said, if, it is likely an old clay tile. It may have been put in at who knows when, but ultimately, no, we have no records of anything there.
Is there no catch basins on Church Street?
Not in that area, no.
Thanks.
Okay, the recommendation is before you. Council, what's your wish? Yes, Martin?
I'm sorry, I said I wasn't going to ask one question, but I wonder if I can ask one more.
The chair will allow it.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, one more question.
So what happens when this Wellington drainage, I think, goes to the main drain? So it's going to affect, if it has to be improved, it's going to affect a lot more than just these two owners. So will they be notified then later on?
Yes, 100%. If it does proceed and that they find they need to go downstream, then the owners, whoever is affected, will be notified. Whether it's at the on-site meeting or the preliminary meeting, what I've noticed is when we have a petition, we send out notices to the people in the area, and that's a guess on my part. But once there is an investigation through a survey or through LiDAR information from the engineer, that can either get smaller or bigger. So then I send out notices to more people to make sure that they know about it.
Well, I want to thank staff. I know staff have gone above the call of duty in trying to accommodate inquiries like this and to treat everyone in a fair basis. I think our service level is extremely high, and I see it on a daily basis. Andrew, I think you've done everything according to the Drainage Act and more. Is there a mover and a seconder for this? What's council's wish? Chair will move the recommendation. Is there a seconder? Sure. Thanks. Councilor Haggett. Discussion. All in favor? All opposed? Carried. Okay. Community service and facilities, fire and building. There are none. So we'll kind of migrate now to 8A planning. Zoning application PH 2022. Alana, can you walk us through this, please?
Thank you, Mayor, through you. So the subject zoning bylaw amendment application, which proposed to rezone the severed lands from the agricultural A1 zone to the site-specific rural residential RR-5 zone, and the retained lands from the general agricultural A1 zone to the agricultural A2 zone, was approved in principle by municipal council and given 2 readings on June 22nd, 2022, to be brought forward for a 3rd reading once a deposited reference plan was provided. So a deposited reference plan was provided to staff, and therefore the 3rd reading has been brought forward for council's consideration. The lands are subject to consent application E4-2022, which sought to sever a parcel surplus to the needs of a farming operation as a result of farm consolidation. So a site-specific rural residential RR-5 zone is requested to recognize an existing deficient setback from the center line of an arterial road and to permit the creation of a residential lot for the purposes of disposing of a dwelling surplus to the needs of a farming operation. So as per the official plan, a rezoning application was required as a condition of consent to prevent residential dwelling from being permitted on the retained lands, and then also to recognize the residential use of the severed lands. So staff maintain the opinion that the zoning bylaw amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement and in conformity with both the county and Southwest Middlesex official plans, and therefore staff recommend that the report be received for information and that council give a third and final reading to the bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions you'd like to ask Alana through the chair? I'm sure we're familiar with the property. What is your wish? The recommendation is before you, council. I don't think there's any need to read it. You can peruse it if you wish. Councilor Link?
Move the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. And Deputy Mayor Schuldeis will second that. Discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And Alana, I'd like to delve into page 2, please. Oh, Aaron, okay. Just shuffling around here, right?
There it goes.
I forget you're up there, Aaron.
So through you, the memo that's before council at this time is a request to change or amend the conditions of a previously approved consent application, which was B6 2023. So somewhat related to the discussion we recently had about the Church Street drainage petition, the applicant has requested to amend condition number 8 and add condition number 13 to their list of required conditions. So this application was approved by council on, or committee rather, on October 25th of 2023. Again, the applicant was required to satisfy all of the conditions within 2 years of the date of this decision. I have provided the list of conditions in my report. The subject condition that the applicant is looking to have amended is number 8, and that is that the owner provide a lot grading drawing stamped by a professional engineer and OLS, which indicates the location of a building envelope, land elevations and swales, clarifier tank and depth to the satisfaction of the municipality. So the applicant has been working through their conditions and have satisfied a number of these conditions. One of them, however, has proved to be somewhat difficult to satisfy, and that is condition, again, number 8, and that is specifically in relation to the drainage of the severed lot. So the applicant retained a consultant as per the requirement. However, the plan that was provided to the municipality did indicate that the stormwater or the surface drainage of the severed lot would be draining towards the back of the property and potentially affecting the properties that were adjacent. So the municipality, the Public Works Department, were unable to sign off on this condition and does now require some additional works to be completed. So the municipality provided an option to the applicant. One of them, again, was the Drainage Act petition for municipal drain. However, as committee or council knows, this can take a length of time. The applicant is really encouraged to get their severance completed so that they can sell the property. So with this in mind, we are recommending that the condition be amended to the following: that the owner adequately address stormwater management on site through the submission of a plan prepared by a qualified engineer to the satisfaction of the municipality. And what this will do, it will allow the current owner or potential purchaser to provide a plan, and I believe they already have done so to Public Works, which shows that they are adequately managing their storm water or their surface drainage on site, rather than directing it to, of course, no storm sewers exist in this area and there's no municipal drain. So they would have a system on site that captures the stormwater and adequately discharges it in a way that it does not affect the drainage of the additional properties around it. So in addition to this requirement, municipal staff are recommending a 13th condition be added, and that is that the owner enter into an agreement with the municipality to address surface drainage concerns in the long term to the satisfaction of the municipality. I don't know that it has been determined what this will look like, but having this development agreement in place will ensure that the works that are completed are done in a way that the municipality is satisfied and there is no negative impact on the surrounding area. So my recommendation is that this condition be amended and the additional condition be added. I am satisfied that there's no proposed conflict with the relevant policy and regulation documents, and the municipal staff are also in support of the development agreement and associated drainage works requirement. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Council. You've been invited to ask questions if there are any. Yes, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Is it a prerequisite in our municipality that all separate lots have to have a stormwater management site plan by a qualified engineer?
Through the chair to the committee member, it's certainly a requirement in our official plan. It's one of the items that we look to ensure that there's going to be no negative impact in the area. We look for servicing, we look for stormwater and drainage, a number of other things, but that is certainly always a consideration that we have.
And follow up,
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Would the stormwater management plan not incorporate the surface drainage concerns? I'm just wondering why we have the two separate clauses when I'm thinking number 8 should address surface drainage concerns as well, or does that not?
So that's a great question. I believe the Public Works Department was not able to sign off on that requirement because, well, at the time that this report was provided, there was no plan that had been submitted. So our intent is, once the condition is satisfied and once the consent certificate is signed, there is no ability or no teeth for the municipality to really ensure that these items are taken care of. And in the ensuring that the applicant can complete the severance in a timely manner and before the application lapses in the fall. This was a way that the Public Works felt comfortable that they could sign off on the requirement.
Council, any further questions? Recommendation has been put before you. Councilor Bush, how do you wish to handle the recommendation? Is there a mover? Councilor Fink, and a seconder for that, please. Councilor Haggett. Discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much, Alana. We appreciate that. Aaron. Notice motion we have. Mike, you have put this forth. Good idea. Would you like to speak to it, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I think it's very straightforward. We see people wanting to buy community products and our local groceries and everything going on. So I just thought that this motion would be a good idea.
Okay, I'll move that. Is there a second for that, please? Councilor Haggett, discussion? Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I support this, but I mainly think we need to be not buying American, because that's the country that we're having trade problems with right now. And I'm perfectly okay with us buying European or Japanese or from any of the other countries that we have trade agreements with, because we need them now more than ever to buy all the things we can produce in surplus, like agricultural products, for example, that could come from Southwest Middlesex.
Okay. It would require Canadian companies or countries that we have trade agreements with. It could be amended, or you want to leave that corrected? Just okay. Fixed, okay, I think that would work, in this case, I think it would work. Not buying a lot of things from Japan as a municipality, I don't think. Okay, is there a?
Sorry to interrupt you, Mayor, just as wherever possible.
Yeah, wherever possible, okay, yeah, there is no on that, yeah. Councilor Victor, second that?
No, I think Councilor Hagan already, I just had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's also tariffs from the Chinese against Canada.
Yeah.
People are kind of forget that. And also, like I know being on the Brook Mountain Fire Board, the fire trucks, a lot of them come from the States. So, I mean, is there going to be a blanket 100% Canadian, or is there a dollar limit, or if you can only get the stuff in the States? So,
That could be a problem, or you choose not to purchase until this political fiasco is over, okay, which it will be over at some point, yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. That's why I included whenever possible.
Yeah.
So it's up to CNA's discretion.
Yeah, I agree that, I saw, I see the vouchers come in and the expenses and, see the checks that are issued, and, I think, you're pretty well Canadian. You do business with Canadian companies, but you can't control their procurement policies, okay? And, we may have to come back and review this again, when, the political climate, subsides a little to a lower temperature, and, we can, rescind, the decision of council on that. Any further questions? All in favor? All opposed? All carried unanimously. Okay. Correspondence and petitions. I see 10-1. We have an item here. Would you like to advise council of this and walk us through it, Amanda?
Certainly, through you, Mayor, this correspondence is provided to unfortunately advise council that the municipality was not successful in its application to the Housing Accelerator Fund, second round. You may not have been familiar that we have applied to this grant. It was before we implemented our practice of reporting on grant applications. But we did apply with the County of Middlesex's assistance, and unfortunately we were not successful. As were many municipalities, unfortunately were not successful. We just wanted to ensure that council knew, one, that we applied, and two, that at this time we're unsuccessful, but of course we'll continue to watch for other opportunities for funding.
Okay, and further to that, we have sent one letter, Amanda and I, to Steve Pinsino, and he's going to be receiving another one next week. Okay, we'll just twist the screwdriver a little tighter if we can. This is just to receive for information, council, and we want to thank staff for keeping council in the loop on that. Is there a mover and a seconder for this one? Councilor Hagan, seconder. Chair of seconder. All in favor?
One
question. Yeah.
Do we know how many municipalities actually received the funding in the second round?
Yeah.
I thought I saw this and it didn't look very long. I'm sure that included it.
So, through you, I don't know offhand, unfortunately, although I am sure there is a public list I'd be happy to circulate to council. I do believe that in Middlesex County itself, all municipalities, or most, did apply, and it is my understanding that Middlesex Centre was the only successful municipality. But I'm happy to circulate the public list.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there were several $million given
To Middlesex.
Yep. That is correct. Okay, I'll need a vote to receive this for information. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried. Okay, 10-2, Mark Cullen, Founding Director and Chair of Trees for Life. Yep. Amanda, can you walk us through this?
Certainly, through you, Mayor. The before you is correspondence from Trees for Life. They are reaching out to suggest a partnership between the municipality and Trees for Life to plant more trees. They know their experience in this area, and they are seeking any partnership opportunities provided for your information and direction. The one thing I'd like to point out is that they are looking for individual municipalities to identify land in the amount of 1 to 5 hectares that may be suitable for a forestation in partnership with them. So if we were to pursue a partnership, that would be the kind of land allocation they'd be looking for, provided for your information.
Southwest Middlesex is one of the largest tree canopies between Toronto and Windsor. So in terms of tree canopies, we're well situated. We're doing our part, let's put it that way. Okay. So receive the correspondence for information as we move in a second. Thank you, Councillor Vink. Councillor McCollum, last call for questions. All in favor? Carried. Amanda, thank you. Unfinished business, there's none. New business, I think we addressed everything in the consent agenda, Council. I'm just going to look up, guide me if I'm wrong. County Council and conference updates. Announcements. Are there any? Councillor McGill, I saw the word chili on the sign out in front of the Presbyterian Church. What's the scoop there?
I think if I can remember this. Sunday after church.
Saturday.
No.
Saturday?
No,
Sunday? Is it?
I'm not
Anyway,
sure. It's
let's
this
say on
weekend anyway.
This weekend, there's great chili, chili cook-off at the Presbyterian Church.
I do the sign and I forget
I know.
what it was.
No, you're. Well, I'll be there, Mark, I can assure you that, because I'm a chili lover.
Yeah, it might, is it Saturday night?
It's a cook-off, I think it's Saturday.
Yeah, okay.
5 to 7,
You're right.
if I remember correctly, I'm not sure. Okay, any further announcements? That was important, couldn't let that go by.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. Closed session, council, there is none, which is good. No business arising from the closed session. Bylaws, I can briefly go through these. The council of Southwest Middlesex give third and final reading to bylaw 2022/059 and adopt bylaws 2025-24, 27, and 37. Bylaw being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw of Longwood's third and final reading. Being a bylaw to authorize the signing of the lease agreement with the OPP. Bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw on land on Switzer Drive. Bylaw for the collection of construction costs of the Black Drain. Bylaw for the collection of construction costs for the Brinket Drain. These are all drains: Diamond Drain, MacArthur Drain, McCann-Nemeth Drain, McGregor Drain, McTaggart Drain, Moore-Goff Drain, Stocky Drain, Branch 2 and 3, and a bylaw to proceed to confirm the proceedings of council. Those are in a nutshell. Council, is there a mover and a seconder to adopt those bylaws as circulated? Councillor McCollum, Councillor Hagan. No questions? All in favor? Carried. Would someone take the pleasure of adjourning the meeting? Is there a hand? There you go. I'll second that. Councillor Hagan. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Council, thanks very much. There was a lot of business, a lot of things done.